Hey my friends, it's Vinny here from the Committed Crafter. I just wanted to show you guys how I created the concrete texture. I really wanted to create a little bit of drama and story into my studio space, and I got this idea from Julie from Julie's Designs and Signs on YouTube. I've been loving concrete featured walls and the weathered wabi-sabi kind of look. Now I know I can't create that look on any of my walls in my rented home, so I thought I would repurpose an old canvas sign that I had repurposed into a photo board a long time ago, back in 2012. It was a failed business idea that canvas was from, and it didn't work because I basically didn't do my research, and I wanted to skip to the fun part, which was, designing. But anyway, thankfully there wasn't that much money invested into it, so it was a low risk idea. So after I took all the bits and bobs off and took off the very old fabric, I mixed up some grey paint, and I wasn't too concerned what shade because this was my base layer. And here you can see it's drying, and in the morning I mixed up some baking soda, black paint and white paint to make the textured paint. Now I'm honestly just eyeballing, but I can tell you I put in a lot of baking soda because I really wanted a lot of texture. So go hard with the baking soda. So I just started splodging all over the canvas, and I started to think, is this actually going to work? Because it's quite thin, and I just felt like it was going to take a long time, and then I wasn't getting much variety with the patting motion, but I kept going and thinking until I realized a rag might actually do it, and I was right. It did give me that variation that I was after, and it also gave it more depth. So I just continued doing this all over the board. At this stage, my daughter was in the room with me, and she had commented saying, "Mum, this reminds me of those makeup videos where those girls are applying their face makeup." And I just laughed because she had now put this image of a pasty face girl. And then she advised me to spray my canvas with vinegar. And if you know what vinegar does to baking soda, yeah. Full of wisdom, that girl. So here is the painting, drying. I went ahead and painted everything else in my room. Well, not everything, just a few items that I thought would complement the canvas. I may or may not use it in the end, but I do adore the look already. So it's taken this 6 to 7 hours to dry in winter here in New Zealand, so it may dry quicker in sunnier parts of the world. But I'm loving the texture, but there needs to be more variation with the grey. So I went ahead and poured in some white to make a lighter grey. Then I watered it down. I then went and found a wet rag and started splotching it across the canvas to create a stained look. You'll find that concrete, especially when it's been freshly poured, develops a white powdery surface, and that's caused by salt rising to the surface. Anyway, it will not only add variation to the canvas, but it will distract from any obvious brush strokes that I have created, and that could just reveal that this is not a true concrete slab, and I want it to look real. Ah, look at it. It's like a newly cured concrete already. And you might think that it's done, but it's not done. You see, new is the issue for me. I want it to look like I've sliced a slab of concrete from a 2,000-year-old Roman temple. So in comes my dyes and inks. At this stage, I am really excited because not only do I get to do what I've always loved doing, and that's create, convincing textures, but the end of the project is nigh. So you might be wondering why I am mixing up some ochre. I'm trying to give this canvas a story. So I'm thinking, okay, what would have happened, 2,000 years ago? Did they have mustard back then? Maybe some mustard spilled on the wall. I don't know. Well, let's say turmeric. They had turmeric, right? Some turmeric spilt, and we're just, mopping it up, and obviously the stain will be there. You want to make sure this turmeric mixture is quite watery, and you want a wet rag, and you just want to dab the canvas in, random motions. And it doesn't matter how bright the yellow is because that will be toned down later. Oh dear, did you get a good look at my mismatched socks? That's me, crazy crafter. Okay, now onto the brown stain. So I only want to do this very subtly, and I forgot to mention that I had applied the concrete on this frame that I'm using to test my weathering effect on, and this just means that I'm not going to be devastated with the effect on the actual canvas if I didn't like it. So yeah, again, you want a watery mixture, and you just want to lightly create the effects around the canvas. Uh-oh, there goes the Aztec chocolate milkshake. Sorry, couldn't help myself. Just thinking about the story, the history of this ancient slab of concrete. I want some chocolate milkshake now. Okay, I'm almost there. Now I'm going to do some dry brushing with a medium brown paint. And I'm just going to kiss parts of the canvas with my brush in circular motions, just to highlight some of the texture. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing but with black paint, and only in a few areas on the canvas, just to give it more depth around the edges. Okay, this is what it's looking like now. And guess what? It's not finished. Nope, there is one more step in this project, and that is to give this canvas some major precipitation. This piece of canvas has faced some heavy rainfall, many seasons of it, and I'm going to create this by literally giving this piece a wash with watered down light grey, just a shade lighter from the grey that I have used on the canvas. So about a teaspoon of that, and then 3 tablespoons of water. Look at that. It's like the monsoon rain visited my studio. I honestly feel like I should be smelling rain at the moment. So after a whole day of drying, it's done. And honestly, I am so happy with how it turned out. It's exactly what I wanted. And my son actually came in and said, okay, that's cool. So I have redeemed myself as a mother. So I've taken 3 things away from this project. One is to keep the paint that I make, because I can make variations from that colour. That was super helpful. The second thing was to create test pieces so that I could experiment with the different kinds of weathering effects. And the third thing was to let the canvas fully dry in between each application before I went and applied the next coat. So that's how I created my faux cement / concrete canvas. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you on my next video. Bye.